your Vesak program this year on one hand. On the other hand, you were able to listen Dhamma talks delivered by the Buddha, so that making our life very successful. Not only this life, but also to make our hereafter, next life, until attaining sansaric, attaining Nibbana, supreme bliss of Nibbana, having eradicated all the defilements, we were able to listen Dhamma, so that obtaining a knowledge on Dhamma as well as to realize the real nature of the universe according to the Buddha's teachings. Today, Dhamma talk is conducted under the title of 10 kinly factors. 10 factors of a kin, leadership, which is known as Dasa Raja Dharma. Today Dhamma talk, Dhamma discussion is going on in the title of Dasa Raja Dharma. We call Dasa Raja Dharma means 10 factors of leadership, 10 factors of kinship. Also we can say 10 kinly factors as mentioned in Buddhist teachings. We are trying to explain and discuss the utility of Dasaraja Dharma, 10 kinly factors as for the leadership. That is the main focus of this Dhamma talk. Dasaraja Dharma can be applied as different scenario according to Buddhism. Out of them, today Dhamma talk focuses on how Dasaraja Dharma apply into the concept of leadership, and how these concepts can be applied into modern social context. So therefore, that is the main purpose and the intention of today's Dhamma talk. Description of the theme of the Dhamma talk is that. Before starting my explanation on 10 kinly factors, I would like to draw your attention on few misinterpretations of Buddhism. Few misinterpretations made by certain Eastern and Western scholars with regard to the Buddhism. Some of the Western scholars who misunderstood Buddhism, Buddhist teachings, they tried to point out that Buddhism is a pessimistic religion. That was one argument made by Western scholars. Max Weber and some of the other scholars, they tried to mention that Buddhism is a pessimistic religion. On the other hand, some scholars tried to mention that Buddhism is an optimistic religion. Optimistic religion. In order to make this a reality, this thought, this idea, to make it a reality, what they try to mention is, they try to point out certain Vinaya rules the Buddha has enacted. One example, we can say it is mentioned in Kuddaka Vattu that the Buddha prohibited bhikkhus not to draw figures of men and women on the walls of the monastery. At the very beginning, before enacting those Vinaya rules, what certain bhikkhus, they have drawn the naked pictures of men and women in their monastic walls. Then Buddha prohibited that. On the other hand, they also tried to say that Buddha has prohibited the bhikkhus to use of the garlands to entertain with dancing, drama, and also using of the perfumes like that. Buddha has prohibited the bhikkhus. Among the Atta Sila, 8 precepts, you know that, refraining from those things. That is what Buddha prohibited for the use of the bhikkhus. On the other hand, another thing is the basic teachings of the Buddha, such as kamma, the teaching of action, kamma, tilakkana, 3 factors of, the nature of the world, such as impermanent, anicca, suffering, dukkha, anatta, soullessness, and some kind of teachings like that. By taking that into example, they tried to point out that Buddhism is a pessimistic religion. They mentioned that in Buddhism there is no a chance and opportunity for its followers to maintain a very happy, luxurious life, joyful life. So the third, the third precept out of the 5 is also had been traced by them, so that maintaining their idea on Buddhism as a pessimistic religion. So what their main purpose was, by considering, taking all these teachings, concepts, as well as the practices in Buddhism into consideration on one aspect, they tried to verify their idea, saying that Buddhism is a pessimistic religion, so it is not a religion that leads us to have a very successful life. That was the main purpose of the final output of their teachings. Okay? But it is one aspect. They have taken only one aspect based on few examples, but paying special attention to entire Buddhism, Buddhist teachings, we can clearly understand that Buddhism is neither pessimistic nor optimistic religion. If we take Buddhism as a pessimistic, it comes under a extreme, right? One end, anta. Also, if we consider Buddhism as an optimistic religion, it also comes into another extreme. But Buddhism completely rejected extremism, being an extreme or end, anta. And while rejecting that, the path introduced by the Buddha is known as what we call, it is known as middle path. So therefore, by concerning all these things, we can clearly understand that Buddhism is neither pessimistic nor optimistic, but it is a realistic religion which tries to see the real nature of the man and the universe real nature of the universal things. Then what we can find with reference to the Buddha's teachings is basically there is no any aspect that the Buddha has not paid his attention. You know, as far as concerning the cosmology, you know cosmology, right? Cosmology means the talking about the origin and evolution of the universe. Okay? It is also have been discussed by the Buddha in scientifical way, as well as according to the theory of dependent origination, causal theory. Buddha has clearly mentioned the cosmology in Buddhist perspective. Some, you know, the astrologers, astronomers who have done major researches on this field, geographers, and also they also cannot really understand what Buddha has mentioned 2600 years ago with regard to the origin of the universe, which is found in Agganya Sutta. On the other hand, by concerning some of the teachings of Buddhism, we can clearly understand Buddhism has paid attention to economy. There is an economic philosophy in Buddhism. Basically, we consider economy is the production of wealth, production, consumption, investment, and saving. These are the four major pillars of economy: production, consumption, investment, and saving. These are the four major pillars of Buddhism, Buddhist economic philosophy. There are so many Buddhist teachings which are related to the production of wealth, how we should consume the wealth what we have acquired, and what are the ways of investing money for the future requirements, and also how Buddhism has appreciated to use of the saving money for the sake of the future requirements. So such kind of marvelous economic philosophy has been developed in Buddhism, found in Buddhism. On the other hand, as far as concerning, with regard to the politics, Max Weber once said that Buddhism is neither, Buddhism is Buddhism is unpolitical and anti-political religion. Right? Buddhism is unpolitical and anti-political religion. Anti-political, it means against to politics. Right? Unpolitical means it has no political philosophy. Anti-political means it is against to the politics. That is what Max Weber mentioned. But there are so many discourses in Buddhism which deals with which we can create a Buddhist political philosophy that the Buddha's advices are mentioned with regard to the state governance, right? There are so many discourses. The origin of the king, origin of the ruler, and how the selection of the king, how people selected the first king, Mahasammata, and what are the duties of the people, what are the duties of the ruler, and everything is available. And also how an ideal government should be established according to the Buddha's teachings is clearly mentioned in the Buddhist discourses such as Cakkavattī Sīhanāda Sutta, and also we can find some of the teachings, Maha Parinibbana Sutta and so on. There are so many discourses which deals with the Buddhist political philosophy. And also with regard to the entertainment, Buddha has never rejected, opposed to the entertainment, right? Even the Buddha as an Arahant, he has rejoiced with the nature, with creative aesthetic, according to Sakkapanya Sutta and some other suttas. While certain bhikkhus were reciting some of the stanzas melodiously, Buddha appreciated by listening those stanzas attentively, right? Sutta Nipata, there is a part which had been recited by an Arahant at that time. The Buddha has listened attentively, mindfully, and at the end of this utterance, Buddha appreciated the melodious, recitation of those monks. And there are so many things like that. Thera Gatha, Theri Gatha, some of the Buddha's biographical examples show that how to maintain the entertainment according to Buddhism in fruitful way. That is also have been paid attention by the Buddha. On the other hand, with reference to the modern concepts like management, some of the management theories like leadership, motivation, decision making, planning, organizing, and also the directing, all these concepts, time management, human resource management, and all these teachings are also available in the Buddha's teachings. So based on that, what I wanted to say is, Buddhism is a very humanistic religion. The Buddha did not want us to practice only asceticism. If someone say that Buddha wanted his followers to practice asceticism as hermitages or ascetics, that is completely wrong. So what the Buddha did was, Buddha as a realistic religion, he tried to lead his followers towards the sustainable development. That is the focus of the Buddha, sustainable development. What is called sustainable development in Buddhism? The development in balance. How we can balance our life sustainably. Because the Buddha says, there should be dual development of the individual. What are they? Physical development and spiritual development. Development of this life and hereafter. Development of the worldliness and spirituality. Both these aspects have been clearly focused by the Buddha so that leading his disciples to the sustainable development. You suppose that you don't have economic stability, right? You are begging on the street, but you try to practice religion, try to practice religious path. Can you manage? I think cannot, right? Without having an economic stability, one cannot practice religion for some extent. Not at all, right? For some extent. On the other hand, there are certain people who are not considering the religion or whatever the good things, wholesome things, but they try to earn and earn and earn, right? Just only thinking of always money-minded and just only thinking of physical development, so that accumulating or the acquiring wealth more and more. They are running after wealth, after money, with their money-minded nature. They don't like to practice spiritual life. Is he successful? No. Why I am saying that? As Buddhist people, Buddhism always shows us the nature of the universe, real nature of human life. If Buddhism accepts that everything would be disappeared after death, no need to think of spiritual development, right? No need to think of spiritual development. Why? We are living only until the death. Then after death, everything will be disappeared. None of us won't be born in next life. Therefore, no need to think of next life, right? No. Just as other theocentric religion, Buddha did not say that. You are going through this sansaric existence, sansaric life, sansara, a long period of time until attaining enlightenment, having eradicated all the defilements. Okay, that is what the Buddha mentioned. So therefore, in the Buddhist perspective, sustainable development is nothing but balancing both physical and spiritual development. That is what the Buddha mentioned. Okay, I will give you one example. There is a significant sutta known as Andha Sutta. You may have listened before, right? Andha means the blind, the discourse on blind. In this sutta, Buddha has categorized everyone into three categories. Andancha, ekachakkuncha, araka parivajjaye. Dvichakku pana seveta setto purisa puggalo. Buddha says, you should not associate with the blind one, Andha. And also you should not associate with ekachakku means one-eyed person, one who has only one eye, right? Half-blinded person. Simultaneously, he says that then araka parivajjaye, they should be completely eradicated from the association, avoided from the association. While saying that, Buddha said, Dvichakku pana seveta setto purisa puggala. Dvichakku means one who sees the both eyes. One who sees the both eyes. Just as ourselves, right? We can see from both eyes. If you cover one eye, you can see one side. If you cover other eye, you can see other side, right? But when both eyes are, eyesight is available, we can see everything very smoothly and very clearly. Here, what does the Buddha say? Having used this blindliness into example as a simile, Buddha says that the blind one is not the physical blind, but the one who blind their life physically and spiritually. Worldly and spiritually, right? Mundane and supramundane, both aspects. They are such kind of people are categorized into blind people, right? Those who have forgotten their both aspects of the development. And one-eyed person is equalized to a person who is trying to develop only one aspect of their life, either this life or hereafter, or sansaric life. Okay, that is the another two aspect.
But if the one-eye blind, but if that person, the one-eye blind one is focusing on supramundane and not the mundane, is okay, right?
It can be in the vice versa. There may be certain people who are trying to only with regard to the physical development, economic stability, economic development and so on. There may be certain individuals who are trying to develop their spirituality without considering the mundane development. In both aspects can be considered. However, that is the nature of the human beings. But what the Buddha wanted to do was, he wanted us to be very sustainable, developed people in the both aspects, physically and spiritually, mundane and supramundane, right? That is why wherever Buddha teaches us for the development, he has given same weight to the both aspects. You may remind Vyaggapadya Sutta, right? Vyaggapadya Sutta, how many factors are there? In Vyaggapadya Sutta, Buddha has mentioned 8 factors that should be practiced by a person who is expecting to have a successful life. Utthana Sampada, bliss of vigo. Arakka Sampada, bliss of protection. Kalyana Mittata, bliss of the association of good friends. Samajivikata, bliss of maintaining a balanced life. Okay? So that is the 4 major bliss one can gain in their life that can be influential for the development of the material aspect of the individual, right? Material development, basically. On the other hand, in the same sutta, Buddha mentioned that we have to practice saddha, sila, caga, panya. Saddha, sila, caga, panya. Saddha, faithfulness. Sila, virtue. Caga, generosity. Panya, wisdom. Right? In the same sutta, Buddha has given the same idea. So what does he wanted is, he wanted to emphasize the dual development of the individual. That is what Buddhist perspective on sustainable development. Okay? There is another very nice sutta known as Vaddi Sutta, right? Vaddi Sutta, general meaning of the sutta is the development, the discourse on development. It also has given the same weight to the dual development of the individual. It says for the physical development, Kettavattu hivaddati, development of wealth, right? Paddy fields. Dhanadanye hivaddati, development of money and seeds, right? Puttadarehi vaddati, development of the family. Then Dasa Kammakara Porisehi vaddati, the development of servants, right? If we have more servants, that is the symbolism of the physical development of the individual, right? That is also have been considered. And something like that, Buddha has given 5 points which are related to this life. Gorakkehi vaddati, another one is the development of the cows, by the time of the Buddha, it has been considered a greatest wealth. On the other hand, Buddha said, Saddhaya vaddati, Silena vaddati, Suttena vaddati, Chagena vaddati, Panyaya vaddati. You see, by focusing on 5 aspects for the material development, physical development, another 5 aspects basically paid attention to the spiritual development. What does this dual development says? That says how sustainable development of the individual can be achieved. Okay? That is why same weight have been given to both aspects. That is why Buddha did not instructed the billionaires, millionaires who lived in the time of the Buddha. Buddha did not say that you have to give up everything. You should ordain in the sasana. Like that, Buddha never said. Whoever wanted to develop his economy, Buddha instructed him. Right? Whoever wanted to develop his spirituality, avoiding all the household, attachments, Buddha advised them to do so. That is how Buddha approached to different people. So what I wanted to say is, in the same way, by focusing on these things, we can clearly understand Buddha paid special attention to not only the spiritual development of the individual, but also the physical development of the individual. Have you heard anywhere in Buddhism, has Buddha mentioned that you no need to bath every day? No. Buddha has never said that don't stay without, being beautiful. No. Buddha never said. Even the monks said, Buddha never promulgated to bath or the keep your body very well. Buddha said, Appasannānaṁ vā pasādāya, pasannānaṁ vā bhiyo bhāvāya, right? You should behave so that the people who have not been faith on Buddhism, to make them aware. And those who have already embraced Buddhism, for their more awareness on Buddhism, right? That is how Buddha instructed. So what I wanted to say is, based on all these things, we can clearly understand what is the main purpose of Buddhism for the sustainable development. In the sustainable development, basically, we should have, as a person, we should develop our personality as a leader in different situations. I remember one of the Western philosophers say that a leader is the hope of a dealer, something like that. Hope of dealer. Dealer, one who deals with the hope, is the leader, right? That is the main, that is how the leaders are thinking of. Yeah, that is how they are trying to deal with the future ambitions, right? Something like that. I just wanted to say that how it is defined. On the other hand, basically, all we are leaders in different states, right? Sometimes when the husband may become the leader of the family, sometimes wife will become the leader of the family. Or you may become a leader in a particular society, particular organization, right? Particular section of your company, or wherever. In our lifetime, in our day-to-day life, our household life, all we are acting as the leaders in different states and different situations, right? So the leadership is nothing but getting things done through others according to management. The art of getting things done through others according to management. Leadership is the art of getting things done through others. Brother Leslie knows that very well. As a leader in the Buddhist Maha Vihara committee, as a secretary of the committee, he maintained the leadership in great way by organizing other members, other people who are working into the right direction, right? In order to achieve a certain goal or objective. So leader is not a person who is doing everything by himself, right? Leader always try to disseminate power and try to get things done through other people. That is leadership. So basically, the Buddha also entire his teachings as a leader, religious teacher, as a leader, Buddha exemplified through his biography how a leader should be and what are the leadership qualities should be. The Buddha exemplified by himself. On the other hand, in certain discourses, Buddha said the same one. Like, what we are discussing today is 10 kingly factors. Dasa Dharma is also a kind of teaching like that. Dasa Dharma, Danang Silang Pariccāgang Ājjavang Maddavang Tapang. No Maddava. Maddavang Tapang. Akkodha Avihimsancha Khantincha Avirodhana. That is what Dasa Dharma is. This is not found in this is found in Jātaka Pali. In Jātaka Pali, where the duties of a king or ruler is exemplified. In Buddhism is clearly mentioned in this Dasa Dharma. Why these 10 kingly factors are important? As a leader, as a person who is in the society, since we are acting in the society as a leader, as a employer, or in the leading figure of a society, then these 10 points have to be practiced by ourselves for the sake of our community. As a community leader, as a religious leader, as an organizational leader, manager, or the household leader, in every aspect we have to think of these 10 duties as appreciated by the Buddha. That is why this concept, these 10 kingly factors are considered a universal teaching, universal concept in Buddhism. So what are the 10? As you know, first one is called Dana. Dana. What is the meaning of the term Dana? Charity or giving. Here Dana is used not in the religious meaning what we are talking, to offer Dana to Mahasangha, what we practice every day, right? That is something we are practicing, offering Dana to Mahasangha with our greatness for the maintaining of them. But as a leadership quality, how you can practice dana is, working and trying to develop the other's life according to a policy, proper policy. Okay? As an instance, the king. As a ruler, you suppose that you are a king or you are a ruler, president of a country, right? You don't want your people to be poor. What you are doing is you gather people and you try to distribute all the wealth which are available in the government or the royal treasury and distributing them among the poor people. What will happen? What will happen? Treasury will be disappeared. Within a short period of time, you may have to face a difficult economic crisis just as Sri Lanka. Why? Since there is no proper economic policy, they try to, if the leader try to maintain economy, that is not the proper way. That is not the intelligent way that maintaining an economy of an organization. Then what we have to do? As a leader, as a ruler, as a, the community leader, we should try to make policies. We should try to make policies so that assuring the economic development of the people. Okay? How we can make policies? Buddha has clearly mentioned in Kūtadanta Sutta. Kūtadanta Sutta. If there are people who are trading, engaged in trading in a particular country, the duty of the leader is to supply them market, capital, and some other requirements, and also the loans or whatever the requirements, facilities for the development of their trading, their profession, occupation, something like that. That is the only way for assuring the economic development of the people in that society. On the other hand, the Buddha says, for the sake of the people who are engaged in cultivation in a country, the duty of the ruler, duty of the leader is to provide them the equipments that are essential for the farming. That is the duty of the ruler. Right? Having gathered people, what we have to, what we should give them, whether a fish or whether a hook, what we should give them? We have to give them hook without giving fish. If we give fish, we will we try to catch and we try to distribute the fish, and what will happen? They never try to catch by themselves and they never try to develop their status of their life, right? They always thinking of how to eat without working hard, without thinking beyond the window, without making aware on how to earn, right? So the Buddha said that dana is nothing but giving such kind of the awareness and making such policies so that having a very successful life, developed stable life to the followers in a particular society, in a particular organization. Right? That is what we have to do. That is how Dana in Dasaraja Dharma, the first one is used in that meaning. You know, the same sutta says,
Bhante, sorry, can you relate this to an organization like say a temple or monastery? So how this Dasaraja Dharma can be applied for us to develop say a monastery or a temple or a Buddhist organization or whatever? Can you be more specific?
Yeah, that is very good question. You know that as a monastic organization, we are trying to develop on one hand, we try to make the spiritual development of the people, right? Then if we say that we can, make the followers into Nibbana directly by ourselves, that is not the way, right? What we are doing is the correct path. We try to make them aware. We allow the people to practice themselves. We are organizing the programs and we are inviting the people to come and see, come and listen, something like that. We try to make them aware on all these things, Dhamma and everything, and we try to make them aware by themselves and to practice these things. That is how this can be applied into that aspect. On the other hand, as a organization, religious organization, monastery or whatever it is, we have another duty, that is not only the people to develop their spirituality, right? But also the economic stability of the people can be assured, can be maintained by ourselves. How? Sometimes we may not able to give them money so that start in whatever trading or any kind of business or whatever it is. But we can advise them, instruct them. We can have organize certain campaigns, awareness programs, industrial awareness on that, so that upgrading the life of the living standards of the people who are serving to the particular monastery organization. We can practice that in different ways. We can use different strategies so that developing our people in both physically and spirituality, right? Spiritually. So these things can be maintained. On the other hand, in the monastic organization, as I said earlier, as a leader, we can practice them. You suppose that we have 10 people to serve us, work our organization. Then the leader should, the happiness of the leader is to see how they are growing their lifestyle day by day. If they are falling down gradually, that is not the success of that organization as well as leadership on one hand, right? So what I wanted to say is, the leadership, when we are practicing Buddhist principles into, when we are putting the Buddhist principles into practice, we should always consider even such simple things, right? Then what I wanted to say is that this point says everything should be maintained according to a policy or framework, systematized. We have to systematically organize. We have to systematize the organization according to the policy. That is equivalent to a constitution of a country, right? in order to establish law and order, constitution is very essential. If there is no such a policy, what will happen? People will do as their own wish. Even in an organization, there should be such situation. The policy, according to Buddhism, Buddha never appreciated the individual leadership. Buddha appreciated only the leadership of the policy. That is why when the Nigantanataputta passed away, Chunda Thera and some of the bhikkhus approached the Buddha and requested him to appoint the next leader who will become the next leader of the Sasana, Buddhist order, just after the passing away of the Buddha. The Buddha, please appoint a person to that state, that leadership. Otherwise, the Buddhist dispensation also would be disappeared, just as the Niganta Sasana. Buddha said, no. I don't want any personal leadership. I have preached Dhamma. I have delivered Dhamma. I have enacted rules and regulations. Dhamma and Vinaya, that is called Dhamma and Vinaya. Dhamma and Vinaya would be the leader, teacher just after my death. That is how Buddha introduced the policy, kept the policy in higher level rather than concerning an individual into that position. Okay? Then what I wanted to say is, in the Dana, practicing of Dana is as a Raja Dharma, a leadership quality, what we have to do is we always should try to respect the policy rather than the individual. Right? Yeah, Dhamma Vinaya. That symbolizes the, in modern, we call constitution or the law and order, whatever the policy we are practicing. That is equivalent to Dhamma and Vinaya. We can apply like that. Okay? That is how we can practice. The second one, Dana, and second one says Sila. Sila you know very well, right? No need to explain much. Sila means restrainment of body and mind. Restrainment of body and mind. It means refraining from bodily and verbally misbehaviors. Bodily and verbally misbehaviors. Bodily unwholesome deeds and verbal unwholesome deeds. So that is must as a leader, as a person, as an individual, right? The leader should refrain from killing, torturing, making troubles to others physically or verbally, mentally. And also they should avoid non-violence, right? And also as an individual, as a leader, what we have to do is we should try to extend our compassionate mind towards everyone. Compassionate mind. Most probably we forget that. By thinking of the boss, right? And the leader, we forget that we are addressing to human beings. By thinking that, most probably we try to use our power, misuse our power sometimes, right? Arrogantly, so that harming others. So that is not the proper way. Buddha said that refraining from killing, stealing. Here stealing means as a leader should not steal the wealth that not belong to oneself, right? Even a country, you suppose that the leaders, the political leaders, if they try to steal the money of the government, that is not what they have to do. That is a kind of theft. right? Stealing. It goes into such unwholesome and bad, demeritorious thing. But without concern in that, if they try to misuse the money that is given by the people, or that is, paid by the people, is not something to be avoided by them. That is what the Buddha says. Okay. Then third one says sexual misconduct, refraining from sexual misconduct. That is also should be taken into consideration. As a leader, as a community leader or the ruler, when they gather power and authority, if they try to fulfill their sensual pleasures without controlling, right, that would be a very, harmful behavior for himself and the society. Therefore, he should be refrained from third precept too. And also the verbal actions like, telling lies, slandering, harsh speech, arrogant speech, and different kinds of, 4 types of verbal actions, unwholesome actions we have to be avoided as the leader, as a ruler, as a community leader. Not only that, as a single individual, we have to refrain from that. So that is called Sila. We should be virtuous person. So that becoming a virtuous person, we should refrain from these 2 physical and verbal misbehaviors. Dana Sila. Then third one says Pariccāga. Pariccāga, right? What does it mean? Generosity. Generosity.
Not the same as dana.
That is my question. Is it same as dana?
Because dana, you see, is upholding the policy, constitution, the Dharma, Vinaya.
Yeah.
Upholding. Setting direction along that.
Okay.
I always take dana as generosity. I always take
Pariccāga is not exactly dana.
Pariccāga.
Pariccāga as a principle of leadership, right? As a principle of leadership, dedication of one's own strength for the sake of others.
Dedication of
One's own strength for the sake of others. That is Pariccāga. We can dedicate our strength in different ways. Yes? Pariccāga. The English meaning is generosity, right? Here generosity means dedication of one's own effort, physical effort, mental effort, and also one's own money or property, one's own time for the benefit of others. That is called Pariccāga.
Is it like selfless service?
Selfless service, what we call selfishness. Selfless service, right? Yeah, selflessness. Such kind of dedication for the sake of others. Most probably we do that, right? I know personally that some of you are always trying to do that. That is not the intention of dana, intention of Pariccāga, right? Again, we'll take Leslie example, right? He always try to dedicate his life for the sake of the well-being of others. Why organizing these things and whatever it is? That is the nature of the Pariccāga. Not giving something, not donating something. Rather than that, there is a complex meaning to the term Pariccāga, right? then in the sense of the life of monks, right? We are dedicating our entire lifetime for the sake of others. From our childhood, I became a monk in 9th years old. When I was in 9th years old. From that time up to now, this is a youngster period of very young, is still dedicating for the sake of others. And also until the death, we are dedicating our life for the sake of others. Our strength, right? Physical and mental strength. And also whatever we have, we try to give the others benefit of others sometimes. And also we dedicate our time for the sake of others, preaching Dhamma. I had been preached more than 10,000 or 15,000 Dhamma talks. I mean that not here, but also in Sri Lanka. Like that, most of the Buddhist monks are the same. So that is something away from, beyond the Dana. Pariccāga means selfless service rendered for the sake of others, for the well-being of others. So it can be done only through compassionate mind. Everyone can give dana, right? If you have money, you can do that. Okay? But such pariccāga cannot be done by everyone. Such a dedication cannot be done by everyone. You may do them. You may practice pariccāga in different situations in your life. As a wife, you have to dedicate many things to the husband, right? Like that. That is in different way. But basically, altruistic service that we render in our life for the sake of the others' well-being is called pariccāga. So that is what we have to practice. So when we are practicing, sometimes we don't have any expectation. When we offer dana, we have intense, right? Expectations. There is a list of names, about 50 names like that, IMO, in memory of this, like that, on one hand. To bless for the other people, this, like that, a list of names are there. Or the prosper the business, or whatever it is. Most probably, this is my personal experience. From my childhood, when I became a monk in 9th years old, I have read the list like that. Even today I am doing same. I know that until the passing away I have to do that. That is why we are doing we are practicing dana in that way, right? If not only you, if I wanted to give dana in my house, in my place, I normally annual offering is conducted in my house for in memory of my father, and also to bless my mother. At that time I am also doing the same. That is what we are doing, right? But when we dedicate practice pariccāga, we don't make like that. We don't try to do that. We just intentionally or unintentionally we try to make it. You suppose that as a person who is working in a particular company, if you go to work on time, if you leave from the work on time, right? That is also a kind of pariccāga. Why? We are dedicating to our organization, our company, maximum level, right? Sometimes more than the maximum we are trying to dedicate. That is also a kind of pariccāga. Is it clear? No. If you work overtime without expectation, That is practice. That is the way of practice in Pariccāga. By concerning the development of the company.
It's also a form of Pariccāga.
Yes.
Oh, that's very good to know.
But without taking overtime fee. Like that. What I wanted to say is Pariccāga is something like that. It is not equivalent to Dana, right? There is a difference, slight difference in between these 2 points.
Dana is like you do it, you're dispensing your duty, correct? Like that. Like that?
Can be.
But Pariccāga is one step further. You do it out of complete altruism.
Most probably Pariccāga is practiced altruistic mind.
Altruistic mind.
Yeah. Rather than practicing Dana with the pious mind, like that.
Dana is the pious mind.
Yeah. Okay, this is a third point, right? Dana, Sila, Pariccāga. And third one says Ājjava. This is an essential factor you should cultivate in your life. I am not talking about the rulers, political leaders, or whoever. Whoever you are, you have to practice these 10 points in your life to make our life meaningful. Uprightness. Ājjava means uprightness. Uprightness. What does it mean? The strength of working uprightness. Making decisions. Right? Sometimes we feel bias in making decisions. Why? We feel that when make decisions, we feel that it may harm to one of my family members, it may harm to my religion, right? It may harm to my wife or husband, something like that. We make bias on making decisions. Right? Sometimes we try to treat more certain people, right? In illegally, unfair way, right? Or whatever it is. We try to do that. The Buddha said this, Buddha mentioned it clearly. Chanda, dosa, bhaya, moha. One who practices uprightness, he should completely avoid these 4 extremes. Chanda means attachment to a particular thing, maybe particular individual, particular family, or particular group of society, particular religion, like that. Being fair without being extreme. Chanda. Chanda. Chanda means without attachment. Not being attachment. Dosa means hatred. Sometimes we make decisions with hatredness. When I become powerful, I will do something wrong to you, thinking like that. Most probably we try to make work against when we get power by memorizing whatever we have experienced before. Yeah, something like that. Those are hatredness, right? If there is a person who is not familiar to us, familiar to ourselves, so if we are not interested in, with that hatred mind, certain people try to make decisions by considering that particular person, right? Like that. Partiality. Then bhaya means afraid, due to the afraid, fear. Bhaya, fearful. Moha means delusion, not having proper understanding. They try to make decisions. So uprightness is nothing but the quality of ujupatipanna, as mentioned by the Buddha. Ujupatipanna means you should be able to appreciate good things, right things. You should be able to appreciate the right thing even though all other people against to you. If you feel that this is right, this is right, this is good, this is wholesome, you should be able to practice and accept that. On the other hand, if there is something wrong, if you feel that this is wrong, this is unwholesome, this is not fair, we should be able to raise our voice against to that. That is called uprightness. That is called uprightness. Yeah, being middle, right? Being upright in making correct decisions. We have to do that. We need to practice that. You know, in working specifically for the community services, right? You may have experiences in management committee or wherever it is you are working. There may be people are talking much to make decisions. But sometimes we know that we really understand that this is not good. This decision should not be taken. This is unfair. But we try to, by being such chanda dosa bhaya moha, we try to raise our hand, right, to give our vote to that. But intentionally we know that it is not good. That is not uprightness. Uprightness means you should be able to welcome the good and avoid the bad. Even though thousands of people may be against you, but if you feel that this is unfair, you should avoid that. Something like that. That is called uprightness.
It's like courage to make unpopular decisions.
Yeah.
Because it's the right decision.
To make right decisions. Okay? Then Ājjava. Maddava means gentleness. Maddava.
Just now that one is Ājjava, right?
Yes.
The earlier one.
Sakko, sorry. Dānaṁ Sīlaṁ Pariccāgaṁ Ājjavaṁ Maddava. Maddava. Maddava means gentleness. Being gentleness. Gentleness means that is not something like, you know, the making very upright decisions. Sometimes you should be a very compassionate mind. When making decision, you have to consider the environment. Okay? And also the nature of the, you suppose that there is a person who has done a wrong thing, bad thing, unfair thing. At that time, you should consider sympathetic joy. Sympathetically, you should consider about the environment and how he has done, something like that. Without making final decision, before that, you should be very humor thoughts should be cultivated in your mind. Okay, something like that.
Like making decision, having considered the welfare of others, like that.
Yeah, that is also can be considered. What I wanted to say is gentle mind. Gentle mind, not a rough mind, right? Just as Hitler, don't be a Hitler. You should be, or there are certain occasions you have to do like that. But most probably in the same way, in certain situations, you should have a very sympathetic mind to see inside the everything, every individual. Maddava, right? Yeah, yes, Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi, India, can be considered.
Because he stood up for what he thought was right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he was very gentle and non-violent.
Correct. In the same way, such examples. Then next one called Tapa. Tapa means Tapa. Tapas. Tapas. Restrainment of sensual pleasures. Five senses. Restrainment of 5 senses. Okay. It means, that when we have money, if we have, power, when we have the authority or whatever it is surrounded by us, if we try to fulfill our desires more and more, without limitation, without controlling, that would be a reason for the deterioration of our deterioration of an individual. Right? Therefore, Tapa means controlling senses, sensual pleasures, right? Like that. Chakku sota gana jivha kaya. You know that very well. I am not going to explain more and more. Akkodha. Akkodha means not making angry and hatred, being unhatredness. Right? Don't get quick angry. There are certain people who have no calm, quiet, serene, or there is no way of thinking, or without thinking suddenly get angry and just make decisions with that angry mind, hatred thought, then everything would be disappeared. Therefore, as a leader, as a person, we should cultivate this leadership quality, right? Being unhatred. Being unhatred. Then we can, if you get angry, what we have to do is we have to wait for a while until our inner peace establish on our heart, on our mind. Restlessness, until restlessness we have to stay, right? Then we can see the real situation. That is called Akkodha. Avihimsa means non-violence. Non-violence, that is equivalent to what I said earlier with the Panatipata, the refraining from the first virtue, right? Pancha Sila. Avihimsa, should not violate the rules and regulations, should not violate others, should not make violence against others, right? Physically, verbally, or intentionally or unintentionally, should not make violence against others. Avihimsa. Yes, it is called Avihimsa. Having avoided violence, should cultivate non-violence, compassion, or the loving kindness towards everyone. That is called Avihimsa. The next one is known as Khanti. Khanti means patience. Khanti means Khanti. Khanti, Shanti. Yes, Shanti. Shanti, peace, restlessness, then patience, right? Being patient. Calm. Shanti, Khanti. Pali term Khanti. Sanskrit term Shanti. It means, being patient, right? It means always should respect the others' words, respect the others, right? Tolerate others' behavior, something like that. Always should maintain restlessness, peace of mind, patience, and so on. Then Last one says Avirodhata. Avirodhata means respect into others' ideas. Don't think always that I am the correct, I am right, all others are wrong, my word is correct, right? All others are wrong. What I am saying is right, others' sayings are wrong, something like that. Don't think. If we make decisions partially by thinking of one's own thought, that is not the good way of leading others, leading other people, right? Always we should respect others' words. We should welcome others' intentions, others' feedbacks. Then we can have a very flexible, being a flexible person. When we are becoming a flexible person, we can respectfully welcome others' ideas, others' intentions, others' expectations, and before making decisions, we have to consider that. That is called Avirodhata, right? Not being against always. That is called the last one. Okay. So these are the 10 principles of leadership as mentioned in Dasa Raja Dharma. If we use the term leadership for these principles, this is not only for leadership. In our day-to-day life, day-to-day practices, household life, also religious life, spiritual life, in every situations we can practice these 10 points in our policy, right? As a policy. If we remind that, then we can cope with the society very friendly, smoothly, right? We can cope with others very sustainably without harming the society and the others, in the manner of tolerance, peace, harmony, coexistence, right? That is how we can maintain mutual understanding among each other, right? So therefore, these 10 principles of leadership, Dasa Raja Dharma, it can be used as a political principle on one hand. On the other hand, it can be used as a managerial concept, right? On one hand, it can be practiced as a day-to-day life, a policy of day-to-day life. In different aspects, they can be practiced in, put into the practice in our life, right? Therefore, with that conclusion, I would like to conclude today's talk. Thank you very much for patience hearing. Now the time for question. Already 9:35, but we can. Yes. Yes.
These are all very important concepts in today's times. Bhante, I just want to know which sutta we can go in. We want to know more about all this.
This.
Like this is the accumulation of all the different suttas, or there's a particular sutta that covers all.
There is no particular sutta. That 10 points are available in Jataka Pali. Jataka Pali, Jataka Katha, Jataka.
Jataka's tales.
Jataka means, yes, Jataka tales. That is not the tales, right? Jataka tales are compiled in Kurunagala period in Sri Lanka, right? But the among the Pali canon, there is a significant book known as Jataka, which is belong to Kuddaka Nikaya, the last part of the Sutta Pitaka, Kuddaka Nikaya. Right? There, Jataka is, there are a list of verses. A list of verses known as Jataka, right? So, among them, this stanza is available, but there is no description over there. So this description is specifically for my own concepts with by thinking of the management aspect. So we can apply the other Buddhist teachings into that. Okay? Yes?
Okay, there are primarily 4 Buddhist countries.
Hmm.
Sri Lanka, Thailand, Burma, and maybe Cambodia.
Hmm.
Surprisingly, all 4 countries don't follow this principle.
Yes. That is why we are still poor. Because I know that even there are some argument among the Western scholars that Theravada Buddhism is an obstacle for the development. Development of a country. By taking Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Laos, Cambodia and those Theravada countries into example, they try to mention that Theravada Buddhism is the barrier for the development of a country. Because Mahayana, where the Mahayana Buddhism is there, like the China, Japan, Korea, and those countries are well developed. Only Thailand is developed for some extent out of the Theravada countries. All other countries are not.
Actually, the principles are all here. It's just not.
That is what I am going to say is, we are the people who have the proper and the most powerful principles rather than any other country. Even though we have this kind of a great religion, great philosophy, great principle or policy, even in Buddhism, we are still poor because of our illiteracy of the people of those countries on politics. I think that is the reason.
Not the masses or the Sangha. This is really the people in those holding power.
Yes, we also have to responsible on that. You are correct. But because of the party political system, the Sangha members are also divided into different parties and they are also arguing each other. They don't like to see what is correct and what is wrong, who is the correct one and who is the incorrect one. All those are trying to see their own view by keeping the different colored spects and so on. They don't like to see the real way, real nature, what is to be done and something like that. That is why we had maintained such kind of what we call politicians, like those who are not having a proper vision. Very good question as you raised. But we are very shy to say that. We are preaching and preaching and preaching for the people, not only the politicians, but they are not taking anything into consideration. We are helpless.
I gather that sometimes they try to separate They say that in Buddhism, whatever, we don't talk about politics, right? But it's also not correct. Politics affect all our lives. So actually the leaders need to be educated.
Yes. That is what why I simply said that illiteracy of the politics among the people. We have experienced much as Sri Lankan people. We have experienced that situation much right now. Even we are also trying to understand right now. The thing is that, the Buddhist monks, they can advise, but they don't have political knowledge, economic knowledge. It means the knowledge on economy, and they don't have the knowledge of, how international exchanges, whatever the international relations and so on, right? What politicians, say just as icing cake, they are when meeting Buddhist monks, they are saying like that, this and that, something like that. So they don't know what is happening. Even the people the same, because the politicians are, they as a family always they are making decisions and they are doing the things. But until facing these difficulties, no one knows what will happen. What is the nature of the economic situation in the country, what will happen tomorrow, something like that. Since there is no such awareness, maybe that is also our own fault for some time. But it's nowadays most probably young people and the most people try to get aware on what they are doing, how they are doing the works and something like that. Before that, no one considered about that. No one expected this kind of situation will happen. Okay. Yes?
The monks have to study politics.
Definitely. They should study politics, not only politics, even economics, right? And what is going on, the international relations also. Law.
Yeah. So then it's Dharma in practice, Dharma in application to rectify situation.
Yeah. The monks can do a lot of things rather than a single person, because when we are addressing to people through the Dhamma talks and so on, we can communicate, but we don't have such a mechanism of aware on those things for the Buddhist monks. Since we are educated monks and we are trying enthusiasm in learning more and more, reading more and more, we get to know something rather than the other people. But most probably most of the monks are not aware on those things. That is why that lag cannot be fulfilled. Without restructuring entire education, Buddhist education system and whatever it is. Is this Brother Bilita? Ah, happy to see you. I just reminded that. Any question?
Bhante, in the context of Sangha, you say the economy and the spiritual, the physical and spiritual, right? What is the physical aspect of the Sangha in the way eyes open?
By concerning of the Sangha community, we should not pay much attention into that side, I think, because we are renounced from the household life, whether we intentionally or unintentionally. As I said, when I became a monk, I was 9 years old. I don't know what is going on, what has happened, what is the situation, what I have to do in the future, whatever it is. Unintentionally, we were motivated to become a monk, not with the right understanding for some times, right? But later on we understood. However, as a renounced person, people, we should not make much attention to that side. We should pay attention to the spiritual development.
Because Bhante, it was just that when you mentioned something about following one with a blind one eye and one with both eyes open.
Yeah.
So the blind one eye would be someone that's following the super-mundane path.
Yeah.
Because they're not really.
But that balance is quite different. In the sense of the lay person, they have to balance their economy, their family, their children and everything, right? But in the sense of the monastic order, we have no such kind of responsibility. but we also have to consider about the monastic organization and how to grow the novice monks for the future of the Buddhist order. It is not only a very easy task. Growing novices for the sake of future of the sasana is a very difficult task. We can build, few more storied houses, buildings or whatever it is, but it is very difficult to make a well-versed and disciplined monk. Very, very, very difficult task.
Because you got all the administrative tasks.
Yeah, that is not only, administrative or whatever it is. The people will give dana, the lunch, breakfast and whatever it is, even dinner sometimes people will give. They looks like our parents or something like that. But the qualities, the education and also the knowledge, skills, whatever the things needed to the, make service to the society, they are very difficult things to get together, right? As I personally see, like, I am not an ideal one, but a person like me, a person like an well educated person, monk, to cover all the things cannot. Very difficult task. I mean that Brother Leslie know that very well. For sometimes, very difficult to find. Sometimes there are monks who can preach Dhamma well, who knows Dhamma, but they cannot communicate. They can communicate, they don't have the enough, language, proficiency like that. They can. Yes. Overall monks like Bhante Punnaji and K. Sri Dhammananda and some certain bhikkhus like that, they have a few. But it is very difficult task.
You're very lucky, you're very learned and you're able to share so well.
I think I try to do my best, but still I am learning. Thank you so much. Then, okay, now I think we are reaching 10 o'clock right now. Today's Dhamma talk, we were discussing on very timely, important topic, I think, which is very useful for our day-to-day life and our, professional life, not only the professional life, for our sansaric life. In all the aspects, we can pay our attention on our future and our sansaric life. Therefore, we conducted a Dhamma sermon today. You were actively participated in, as you know. Listening Dhamma and preaching Dhamma, both are the meritorious deeds as instructed by the Buddha. We were fortunate to conduct such kind of Dhamma sermon for the sake of the Vesak celebration even this year. We hope to, you may be able to join more and more Dhamma talks like this in the future. So with that great intention, the merit that we accumulated by conducting Dhamma sermon, Dhamma sharing, let's transfer those merits to the departed ones. Those who are departed in memory of yours, and also those who are departed from the sponsors of today's Dhamma sharing, and those who departed, those bhikkhus, the monks, great chief masters who departed, may they be well and happy, may their sansaric journey be successful, and may they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And also let's transfer merits to the deities who are safeguarding our life, who are protecting our life. May those deities be well and happy. May they success their estates in their abodes. May they be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Say sadhu 3 times. And also since today is the final day of our Dhamma sharing, Dhamma talks, the series of the Dhamma Dana for 2022 Vesak celebration, I would like to say thanks all of you, especially for the management committee of the Buddhist Maha Vihara, including our brother Leslie. Because of him, I know that during the COVID period also conducted Dhamma sharing every day, most probably every week and every month, like that. In that basis, we were able to listen Dhamma even during that period. On the other hand, by inviting us for the Vesak celebration this time, he did a great job in this time too. On the other hand, for the committee of the management committee of the Buddhist Maha Vihara, and also the chief reverend and all the bhikkhus, residents bhikkhus of Buddhist Maha Vihara, and all the devotees who helped us during this period, 2 weeks of stay in Malaysia. You helped us very well. You supported us. You take care of ourselves, right? That is why we were able to survive. So therefore, for all those things, I would like to say thanks, and I would like to transfer merits to you all. May you be well and happy. May all of your dreams come true. And may you be able to aware on Dhamma, the knowledge of Dhamma more and more. And finally, may all of us be able to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ākāsattha ca bummattha devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu loka sāsanang. Ākāsattha ca bummattha devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu loka sāsanang. Ākāsattha ca bummattha devānāgā mahiddhikā puññantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu loka sāsanang. ධර්ම ශ්‍රවණය කිරීමෙන් ධර්ම පරිස්කාර පූජා කිරීමෙන් අත්පත් කරගත්තා වූ සියලු කුසල් බෙලෙන් හැම දිනාටම නිර්වාණ අවබෝධය වෙත්වා. අභිවාදන සීලිස්ස නිච්ඡං වද්දාපචායිනෝ චත්තාරෝ ධම්මා වඩ්ඩಂತಿ ආයුවන්නෝ සුඛං බලං ආයුරාෝග්‍ය සම්පatti සග්ග සම්පatti මේවච අතෝ නිබ්බාන සම්පatti ඉමිනාතේ සමිජ්ජතු. සුඛී හෝතු සුඛී හෝතු සුඛී හෝතු.